Thank you, Honourable Chairperson, Honourable Minister, Deputy Minister. The Department of Home Affairs' vision of a safe, secure South Africa where all of its people are proud of and value their identity and citizenship appears in most of the department's documentation and even on its website. All indications are there that, in general, the department really strives to live up to its mission to efficiently determine and safeguard the identity and status of our citizens and of immigration. Home Affairs has during the past few years transformed itself into a structure that is, and I would like to quote the Minister, a modern, digital, secure custodian of national identity, responding to the present and future needs and circumstances, and run by professionals operating in a highly secure environment to protect the precious records of the lives of our people. Now, saying that, it's clear that the anticipation of the Honourable Chairperson of the committee was wrong, as he is many times wrong. And I think it would be very narrow-minded of a chairperson to pursue her obsession with the DA at this forum without any factual basis. Now, Honourable Chairperson, unfortunately, the considerable gains made by the Department of Home Affairs from time to time gets tainted by incidents such as what happened in the recent past. The special treatment dished out for the Gupta clan at Waterkloof and the department's involvement. The al-Bashir escape from South Africa, the criminal escape from South African soil, also involved Waterkloof Air Force Base and also involved officials. And even now, the recent alleged smuggling of a Burundian woman, Michelle Vega, with a false passport into South Africa on a South African Air Force aircraft via Addis Ababa, implicating the Minister of Defence in this case. It is further alleged that the Burundian woman was detained at the Kinshasa International Airport, being in possession of fraudulent documents issued by a certain Mrs. Mapisa, the sister of the minister working at the Burundi embassy at the time. Now, Honourable Chairperson, these allegations is damaging to the department and must be investigated. And the question arises, how does the department respond to allegations such as these? What are the consequences for these alleged transgressions? Are these to look at the debacle that the IEC, under the oversight of this minister and this department, has maneuvered itself into, the corner that it has painted itself into. The IEC, with a proud history of independence, has tainted its image, and it will take a lot to change it around. We should never forget where this expose of the IEC failure originated. Let me remind you, Honourable Chair, in the Tlokwe municipality, some ANC councillors voted against allegations of a corrupt and fraudulent executive mayor, and for doing that, they were expelled out of the ANC and out of council. And that resulted in by-elections. And that's where the trouble for the IEC started. The trouble started after the 2013 Tlokwe by-elections. Now, the failure of the IEC to fully comply with Section 13 of the Electoral Act allowed unscrupulous people, I won't say ANC, to exploit this failure and to register hundreds of voters illegally on the voters' roll. And they were subsequently buzzed in and allowed to vote in this highly contested by-elections. Now, this could not have happened without the involvement of IEC officials, and the IEC must be complimented for the swift disciplinary action taken after the abuse was exposed. Now, this is where the horror story really starts. This led to a number of court cases, 3 in the Electoral Court, and eventually 2 appeal cases in the Constitutional Court. And every time the IEC was represented by a team of very senior advocates at cost of millions of rand, and of the taxpayer. And they were fighting independent candidates who were fighting only for their right to a free and fair election, which was taken away from them by ANC people who buzzed in, illegally registered people and buzzed in voters. Now, the IEC in the Constitutional Court on Friday filed a paper, an affidavit, in which the IEC finally conceded that it failed to understand its role in safeguarding our voters' roll, its base documents, and therefore the quality of the roll. They finally, after fighting all the way, on Friday, 4 days ago, they said, we are guilty, I'm sorry, after spending millions. In an affidavit of Mosotho Moepa, the Chief Electoral Officer of the Electoral Commission, submitted to the Constitutional Court on Friday, it's a public document, he conceded, and I quote, the IEC accepts that it may have understood the purposes of Section 16(3) of the Electoral Act and misconstrued the nature of the duty imposed. This is very soft. They may have done it over a period of more than 12.5 years. And I quote again, the IEC did not understand Section 16(3) to create a positive duty to obtain and record addresses of all voters for any other purpose, including third-party verification of voter registration for local government elections. Thirdly, quote again, the IEC accepts that it may have erred in this regard and that, as a result, it may have failed to comply with the requirements of Section 18(3). Now, here's it. After all the millions, the IEC sincerely regrets and apologizes for any such failure and is fully committed to meeting its legal obligations and to improving its processes and to ensure that it does so. After all these court cases, millions being spent, the IEC come and say, South Africa, we are sorry. We've messed up the credibility of the IEC, we've messed up elections, we've had by-elections postponed, and we are very sorry. What a disgrace. The reality is that the IEC was in default since the promulgation of the Act on 17th December 2003, a period of more than 12 years, and never even attempted to ensure that the voters' roll comply with the legal requirements. The failure of the IEC did not only for over a period of more than 2.5 years destabilize the Clockwork Council, eventually stopped all by-elections in South Africa, but also brought the legitimacy of the voters' roll and therefore the IEC and the election into question. The IEC stated in court papers that it will need more than 4 years to be in compliance with the legal obligations. The IEC now needs support, including financial support.
Honourable Hutton, your time has expired, sir.
Hey, that's quick. Thank you, Chair.